At the New Jersey SBDC Network, our mission is simple: to help businesses grow and succeed. Our consulting, training, and information services make it easier for businesses to reach their potential. Whether you're currently in operation or just starting out, we have the right tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. Visit us online to get started on your path to success today.
A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. My name is Takoa Bell. I am one of the event coordinators for the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark. And on behalf of Dr. Tendai Nduro, our regional director, we would like to welcome you to our How to Identify You've Been Hacked webinar. For those of you here that may be unfamiliar with the SBDC, it stands for Small Business Development Centers. And here at the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers at Rutgers-Newark, we serve as the premier provider of business training and technical assistance services to establish small businesses, startups, and as well as to entrepreneurs. We are one of 12 centers in the NJSBDC network, and we service those within Essex County. Our center is hosted by the Rutgers Business School and funded through a public-private partnership agreement between the Small Business Administration, Rutgers University, and the New Jersey Business Action Center. Our mission here is to help entrepreneurs as well as business owners start and grow sustainable, successful businesses through the delivery of one-on-one business consulting, training, and technical assistance programs. Now, all these services are provided to you at no cost and are paid for by your tax dollars. If you or your business is located in Essex County, our website is www.rnsbdc.com. And on the top right-hand corner of our website, we have a button labeled Request Counseling. So clicking on that button will lead you to fill out some information about your business or your business idea. And within 24 to 48 business hours, one of our consultants will reach out to you for an assessment. And for those of you here that are not within Essex County, our headquarters website is www.njsbdc.com. And on that website, you can type in your county and it will refer you to your local SBDC office. For the benefit of everyone attending today's webinar, we will be taking questions via the Q&A feature here on Zoom, as well as the chat feature. We also will give everyone the ability to mute themselves to ask their questions via audio. So please feel free to post your questions and we'll do our best to respond during or at the end of today's webinar. A copy of the presentation slides, along with a video recording of this webinar, will be emailed to you within 48 to 72 business hours so that you can have all this information to refer to long after this webinar has ended. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you all our presenter for today's webinar, Nalit Patel. Nalit is the CEO and founder of All Solutions Incorporated and an SBDC consultant here at the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark in the areas of IT and data center infrastructure, cloud computing, disaster recovery, and business continuity. And now, without further ado, I will turn today's webinar over to Nalit and Harry.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday to all of you. How is everybody doing this Friday? Yes, you can, okay, you need to give me, I cannot share the screen.
Good.
Excellent.
You should be good now, Nalit.
Okay, let me share the screen. Yes, I can share. So can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. What we would like to do is we would like to make this as interactive as possible, as informative as possible. So please feel free to ask any and all questions. So has anybody heard or experienced anything like hack, ransomware, or any of that sort to our participants? I I guess not. Let me introduce my colleague, Harry Mehta, who is part of our organization. He is the one who drives the cybersecurity awareness and the regulatory framework which is required within all organizations that are dealing in regulated and unregulated industries. We will talk about it as we go along. The purpose of this is to educate you in this connected world of technology, how things are moving, what are the things any business should be looking out, whether it is a 2 people office, 20 people office, 200 people office. Where do you need to start and how do you need to look at things? That is the important part. Shelley, yes, all of that. Can you share your experience? Uh, what did you experience when you had ransomware and hacked? So we can tailor the conversation accordingly. You can unmute and speak.
Um, I was part of it was almost like an international type of scam where I thought I was donating money to an orphanage in Africa. Well, it turned out to be a scam out of Nigeria. They got access to all my banking information. I had to close all my accounts, just everything. And it started on my phone actually. And then it's kind of complicated, but I just wasn't aware. And thank God I had a friend who works in IT and she said, you know, I think this is a scam. And so luckily they didn't get everything, you know, and that was one of my more recent. I did report it to the police, but you know, they're not going to do anything. I know that. That's
Uh,
why I'm here today.
it's so what kind of business do you, and thank you for sharing the painful experience, Shelley. What kind of business do you run, Shelley?
I'm a fine artist and designer. I had to switch to an online business because of everything being shut down from COVID. I could no longer go out to venues.
Okay, okay. So we're going to show you a couple of things what you can do, and if you still need consultation, you can reach out to SBDC, and you will get free consultation. We can walk you through and see how we can help and assist you to get yourself situated in a position where you will eliminate or reduce all this effects, whether it's your cell phone, whether it's your Mac, or whether it's your PC, any of that. Okay. Thank you very much for that information. Greatly appreciate. So we're going to start with uh, a important phrase and word which is called phishing attack. This is where everything begins, and I'm going to talk about an example. How many people remember Target was hacked? Does anybody remember? A couple of years ago, there was a breach that happened at Target, and Target had all their checks and balances in place. What was not in place was Target had also given their access to all the vendors that were coming in and connecting to the systems, downloading work orders, and functioning whatever functions they had to function. One of the vendors on their PC got some malware and phishing, which downloaded some command and control code. Over a period of time, that command and control code went and found where this connectivity was going and where the pipes were directly connected to other computers. And that's how they ended up in Target. And then because whenever that PC got connected to Target, it came to a specific number, which is called the IP address. And Target's computer looked and said, oh, you are a known user. You come through this IP address, you have the access. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Harry. Harry, please take over.
Good afternoon, guys, and thank you for being a participant here today. Thank you, SPDC, and all the high heads at SPDC for helping us bring this education seminar to our viewers here today. Now, as Nalit was describing about the target hack, the reason we talk about the target hack, that if we are a small business operator, and if you're not very cautious about the activities of not protecting yourself, it could lead to something how Shelley describes her experience here today. But if even the target and bigger boys do get affected, they do go through the pain of going under ransomware and phishing attack. So it's not just only the bigger organizations need to protect themselves. All of us who are part of this SPDC and all everybody who's a participant, we all have to be doing our fair share, making sure we keep our information safe and all our data safe as well. So hope you guys gained something really well out of this great event today, and we're looking forward for you guys to join on ongoingly with our awareness series. We call it awareness series. We're constantly trying to give you information about the things which are happening, what is current in the market, and how to prevent, how to protect, how to detect, and how to stay away from any of the cyber crimes. Now let's going back to you, we can talk more about phishing attack, and we can
Absolutely.
also show the geolocation hacking as well. This is a new topic which we are
Sure.
covering today.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Harry. And let me ask you a question. How many of you have your own homes or apartments and cars that you drive? And let me ask you, why do you lock them? I need some participation.
I would say we really want to be careful about our own personal uh, premises, and locking it would help us out. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, I know I was looking to get participation from our audience, but that's okay. The recent hack that happened, which we want to share as an example, is, can anybody guess who got hacked? Ring doorbell. Now, people think that technology is good and they can ascertain certain things and make sure that everything is protected. I can look at everything. But what you compromise on the other side, if it is not structured properly, if it is not installed properly, and if all the checks and balances are not put together, you're giving up the privacy within the digital world. And in the connected world, you have to be extra vigilant and look at everything. What are you clicking on? Where are you going? What action are you taking? And what is the result of that action? Personal information of more than 3,000 ring owners was reportedly compromised, including their IP addresses, including their locations, and emails and everything else. Now, once this goes and sits into, there are two universes. One is the regular universe, and the second is the dark universe. Once this goes and sits in the dark universe, your information is recycled gazillion times, because people are a creature of habit and people don't do certain things. It starts with laziness, lethargic, and bad habits and bad hygiene. What I mean by that is, people will use the same email address, people will use similar passwords, passphrases, and once you don't change it, you will get hit and compromised by one of those things that is hacked, because your information is already available in the dark side. If you can look at it, how innocent those people look. On the left hand side, there are two kids who would step at your doorstep. They will give you, oh, we are over here from a church group, whatever the case may be. Here is a family. They thought that they're installing the Ring doorbell, and they want to make sure that when the father is at work, the kids and family safe. Guess what? That did not happen. So we encourage that you should have something that is called two-factor authentication, and you should reset your passwords, bypass phrases, and other things. Make it difficult for somebody to guess. Should not be your town, should not be your birthday, should not be your anniversary, should not be your kid's niece or nephew. If a hacker is really interested in finding information about you and your family, it is very easy. They will go and start surfing on the web, go to Facebook, start looking at what are the things you're posting in. From there, they will take information, go and connect, and find out how and where you're located. And that is the next series that I'm going to give it to Harry. He's going to talk about. But even having the purpose and we are sharing this example is even having a doorbell or something which is not identified and installed properly, you are exposing yourself to a breach that will happen. Okay. Uh, yes, you can use LastPass, but LastPass also should be saved at a different location and not in the same computer. It should be kept at a different location and it should be saved uh, and updated on a regular basis. Okay. Harry, with that, I'm going to hand it over to you. You have the control.
Sure. Thank you. So Shali, hope we throw some light. We are just taking this example of the Ring, a very reputed company, Amazon-powered, Amazon-owned company who is providing a great product, Ring doorbell, extremely popular, and many homes are utilizing that as a access to gain to see who's at the door, open the door, or even open the door if they're not home for Amazon or UPS or FedEx parcel delivery. Now, what really happens would be with if your information is compromised and if your ring is itself is compromised, then anybody who has got an unauthorized access to the ring device would be able to identify where this device is located. Now, once we identify where this device is located using the IP addresses, all the devices, all the internet devices has an IP address. So once that IP address is popped into this geolocation tool, the tool we are utilizing a demo data using publicly available open source data structure. It means I don't need any special tools. I don't need any special subscription. I don't need to download anything. Just Google it, geolocation lookup, and there is information available. As simple as that. Now, if you could go, I'm just going to pop up my home address geolocation. I'm going to throw in to the slide here. So now give me 1 second, then you can move to the second slide.
Sure.
Second, let me just pop information here. So, all right, I think you can move to the next slide to auto-populate into the thing. Oh, great. All right, so if you guys can see, it does say lots and lots of information. It tells exactly my home address, which is coming from the United States. It also tells me very clearly that which city I'm living at, and now also gives me exact latitude and longitude, which describes the pinpoint location on the Google map. And now you exactly know where I live. You can see my house from the Google Maps. You can also see what's happening. On top of it, you have access to my Ring camera, so you can also see who's coming in, going out at what time. Please note, if you know your location, if you know the time of people going in and out, if you can also track the activities, this information is worth a fortune in the dark web. This information could be sold, it could be used against you, it could be against in battle for your neighbors, and also person who needs medical attention. So imagine somebody has capability of rewriting this code and send out instead of this home address being located at latitude and longitude, somehow somebody was able to manipulate. Now, if I call in for some reason, if I call in emergency services as 911, right? They would also utilize a similar methodologies to track my home, and they will be able to see my home being at a wrong location. That would also make me not be able to capable of getting the right help when I really need it. So this could lead to a simple process that we describe here, but it could be a life-threatening situation here as well. So hope I'm trying to cover the topic. Shani, if you have any specific question which would help the group or anybody here, please feel free to type in and we will go over it. And meanwhile, we will continue our topic. Nalan, let's go back to you with the next slides.
Thank you. Let me emphasize a couple of things over here. It is very, very important with COVID and people working remotely and people working from home. If you are working with a PC that is connected from your home to your work environment, and if the checks and balances at your home environment are not done properly, somebody can hack into it and look at this information and get all the information. They can spoof themselves and go into your work, because once they can see this information, they can also track everything else. How many of you go to get a cup of coffee or go to a pizza place or go to a restaurant? You're working and you're taking a break, but you're using a public Wi-Fi. Guess what happens? You need to be very, very careful when you're using public Wi-Fi. Whether it is Starbucks, whether it's your favorite pizza place, or wherever it is, if the checks and balances are not in place, you are opening yourself for a compromise. One of the latest ones I will share as a side note, there was malicious code entered into one of the famous shopping sites. So whoever goes to visit that shopping site, that code gets downloaded, and then it will track all the information and look at what the user behavior is and start taking information and compromising more and more. Which are the 4 signs that you see normally that you are compromised? You will see suspicious network communication. You will see your things, kind of your icons changing, or your files changing, or you will see the colors of your background. You may not know, but you will notice subtle things. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Harry so he can walk you through one by one as to how this will happen. Harry, on to you.
Yes, thank you. So Shani, we're going to try and utilize you as an example here. Sorry for making you a guinea pig here, but I'm trying to depict it here. So this is your mobile phone, and you had some activity happening which would make some compromise. This compromise leads to this information going to your internet provider. Now, this internet provider, it could be Verizon, Fios, Comcast, anybody, that has a trace which allows them to say that, hey, in case you're going to your bank, right? So from your mobile phone, you type in chase.com or citibank.com. And if somebody is sitting at the purple building here and trying to see that, hey, Shali's trying to go to chase.com, instead of sending her to the right, the regular notified chase.com, I would try and push her to the chase.com, which is a spoof fake chase.com. That way, if she tries to update her password or she tries to notify information about, hey, I need to go get access to my banking information, we will be, the guys who are sitting in the purple building, they will be utilizing this information, using a fake site, and use this information against her. Now, if we go to the next slide, the general way of looking into a desktop computer or the Windows-based computer, very easy would be the task manager. Mac devices and phone devices, mobile devices are similar. They have storage processor utilization managers, which shows what is really happening in the background. All the mobile phones have some feature which says running background processes. If you notice something which is not, which should not be really happening, right? Here in my case, my particular desktop, Windows-based, was having humongous memory leak. 99% of my memory was utilized for unknown identifier device. It says compressed memory. So if you see something which is not regular, out of the ordinary, there is a chance to call your IT guy. You can reach out to us, and we will try and see what needs to be taken care of. So now the next slide, please. Alrighty, so this is the topic which we will cover, which will take an overview with. We are focusing on phishing attacks because that is more prevailing, which is happening quite well in today's world. But the most of the ransom which are happening today are called locker ransomwares, crypto, and mobile ransomwares. So let's do mobile ransomware. It means your information, your contacts, all your share contacts, everybody who's in your contact list would be compromised. They will be start receiving and text messages, annoying information, or even the WhatsApp and Wrapper, Viper is also one of the communication protocols they use. Once that information is compromised, everybody, you along with all your friends and your family who are part of your contact list would start getting some or other information from the dark webs. The crypto would as the word defines, it will crypt everything on your mobile device or your hardware, and they will ask money ransom or some form of payment to decrypt and give you information back to you. The lockers are mainly not utilized for small businesses. They are only going for the large organization where their idea is to lock everything, put it in a locker, and the information would be provided only if in case some criteria are met. So these are 3 levels of ransomware which are very popular, and this is how we define what is really will happen to you if in case it is to get compromised. And now let's going back to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Harry. I would like to poll or ask an open question to all our participants. Any questions, you can unmute and share your thoughts. Any questions so far? I know there was somebody from the cannabis industry. Shelley was there. I would like to know who are the other participants and what kind of challenges they have faced or what kind of background they come from. Anybody has any questions, you can unmute. Okay. I guess not.
How do we know what type of ransomware that we've been, you said locker, crypto and mobile.
These are just the 3 samples. There are more of them.
Okay.
So what you ought to do is you ought to take steps that you don't get ransomware. Okay?
Okay.
And we will give you all the steps. We will guide you. If you use good hygiene, saving passwords, passphrases, using, some people are click hungry. Don't click on everything that you get, whether it's a text message or whether it's an email. Today, you can get spoof text messages. If you don't know who you got and you click it, it will download the malware onto your device, whether it's mobile or your desktop or whatever the case may be. And then it will start spreading and taking control over it. So vigilance is something that we recommend should be there at every possible time. As we are speaking, I got a text from somebody. I had to call the company and let them know that it seems there is unusual activity within your domain and environment. This is not a text I would receive. Okay? The text I received, hey, Nalit, I'm stuck in Seattle. Can you send me $200? that itself should tell you that this is a spoof text that is coming in. And it is coming from a known domain that the person is doing business with us. Okay. Together with that, what are the things you will know when you're getting hacked? You're getting ransomware messages. You will get. You need to update your antivirus. Please go here and click something. You will see some additional icons that may pop up in your browser, or when you try to do a search, you may think you're going to Google, but you're going to a different Google, which is primarily set up by the hackers. You will see random pop-ups that might come up when you are working or when you're browsing. You might even get some fake solicitations. If you're a woman, you'll get handsome men wanting to be friends with you on social media. If you're a man, you'll get beautiful women trying to be friends with you. And these are what do you call as the evils of society. And not knowing who it is or what it is, you will go and click, and that's where that is the first function you will compromise yourself. Uh, when you start using your passwords and you see it's not working, first thing you want to do is go back and think how and where you use this device and or what is the last password you did. Don't be in a habit of using the same password across all of them. Use different passwords at different places. Use two-factor authentication. Shelley raised the thing, can I use a password tool that can save all the passwords, which is called the LastPass? Yes, it is a good device, but you should save that on a different device and different place. So in an event your if a thing is compromised, your passwords are also not compromised. That is an important part to understand. Go back to the basics. Have a paper and pen. Think about the password, what you want to do. Write it. Keep it in a safe place. Don't stick it in on your monitor. Don't stick it beneath your keyboard. Don't leave it under your desk where people know that people are creature of habit. How you can go and look at it. Okay. With that, I'm going to hand over the slide to, I'm going to cover the slide and hand it over to Harry in the next slide. You will see some software that is installed onto your computer. You may notice that you're working and you're not doing anything, but your mouse is moving. You might get registry, which is where all the records are kept, and task manager that you could go and change. Now you cannot change anything. Your online account is missing money, as Shelley described it carefully. You might get unknown requests from your friends, and you might think, oh, Harry called me, it should be important. Let me go ahead and click and respond to that. No, be careful. The number may look very, very similar to your friend's number, but the digits may be transposed back and forth. Uh, you will see your credentials and passwords being dumped into the dark side. Dark side, we will cover it in a different topic. If anybody's interested, you can sign up and look into it. You will see high traffic onto your computer. Like you will see, how many times have you noticed that your cell phone gets hot all of a sudden? That is not due to battery, that is not due to anything. If it is working every day, why would it get hot all of a sudden? Because there is unusual amount of traffic that might be happening onto your mobile phone or onto your desktop device or your tablet or your laptop. People think that having an Apple, you don't get hacked. Guess what? Any computer, any device is a hackable device. So let's not be under a superstitious presumption that this cannot be hacked. Okay? With that, I'm going to hand it over to Harry. Harry, you have the card, please.
Thank you, Donald. Shani, how did you identify that you were hacked? I mean, did you see any tip particular? I would really like to learn a little bit more about that experience you had.
Well, it was a series of things. Um, I had another instance where I had gotten a warning on my computer and I had to call a phone number. Um, and well, it turned out to be a scam because once you called that phone number, they were supposed to help you stop this warning message on your computer, right? And then you had to pay them a couple $100 to get this stopped. And actually, it was a company. I found out then I talked to my nephew, and he's like, "Aunt Chris, that's a hack. That's no good." But I already paid them, and then they continued to contact me. In fact, they were located in Princeton, New Jersey, and then they started calling me on my home phone. So I had to take that computer. It's sitting here, and I can't use it at all anymore because they got access to everything on that computer simply because I thought, by calling that number, they were going to help me get this warning off my computer. That was another thing that happened a couple years ago. Then this other scam was a little more sophisticated. And it's hard how I detected it really was just because of my friend in IT. Unfortunately, I was going back and they even had me take a picture of the money that I was withdrawing out of the bank to send to them. They wanted a picture of it. So that tells me I probably should have realized right then and there. I ended up going to Walmart. They had me give them a card from Walmart, like a gift card type of thing. So they only got $35 from me, but they were trying to get everything. And they did it. They posed as somebody else. And I just fell for it. I don't, what can I say? But everything that you're saying, I've experienced. I've seen my mouse move on its own. So that's why I'm concerned. And then even like when the gentleman mentioned about keeping my passwords on a different device, all these little things I know make a difference. But I'm a fine artist. I notice details. I can't help it. And I just want to do the right thing, but it's getting harder and harder, like you said. So this is very, very good. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Shani, you did went through a lot, and you did also provided great information, which we all can learn from. The most important information, Shani, which I really see it, the hackers got smarter. So they improved themselves. They got them more better, trying to scam you in a much better way. So this is the most important lesson to be learned, and we need to stay very well aware of how. If you guys notice, recently we noticed big ransomware hacks happening, very especially into all the help desk software providers, right? There has been a great word about go to my machine, type, then TeamViewer. All these amazing software manufacturers were able to provide you help. Your nephew, your niece, anybody can log into your computer and they can help you fix issues. Yes, it's a great tool, but the same tool, if it's compromised, it is very well much be used against you. As Sally mentioned, her machine, somebody asked them to pay money and they must be utilizing a similar software. The most prominent name in this industry are, or what we call them, which are mainly used for all the government organizations. They are mainly used for all the military and defense organizations. If these softwares were hacked as well, surprisingly, and if this information would also compromise, and we see this news happening all and all over and over and over again and again, So there is a target audience for money to be made from everything. That's what they call it. An individual is also valuable in a dark web. It would fetch something starting as low as $30 all the way to wiping out the whole bank account, up to crippling the whole country or a city or a county. And this is not ending. So we all acting together, staying more vigilant would help us out. Here today, we will run a little simulation. This could be very simple simulation. I'll appreciate if you guys can participate and answer it. It will be helpful for all of us. I'll encourage for all of you to participate. So now let's go to the simulation and let's see how well people answer it and how well we learn in this session here. Thank you.
Sure, Harry, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I have a question for Tanisha, Lisa, Kaneto, and Ian. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, mic is not working. All right.
Hi, sorry, I was driving the car.
Wonderful. Are you paying attention in driving?
Yes, sir.
In trouble, whatever you answer, you're in trouble.
Okay. So Ian, what kind of background do you have?
I run online store. I'm an e-commerce industry, so I have online store on Amazon, eBay, and a couple of platforms. So basically, on my end, I'm always concerned about the online transaction, especially with different vendor like PayPal, Zelle, and I just want to know, like, usually for the online transaction, how do you know you've been hacked? Because sometimes we wouldn't know until much later.
Absolutely. We are going to cover that. And Ian, you fall within what do you call as regulated industries? And we will cover that topic at the later part so you can see what it is. Lisa, we would like to hear from you. Lisa, are you there? Gabrielle, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. So what kind of background do you have, and can you share a little bit if you have any questions?
Okay, so yeah, exactly like the previous gentleman about the e-commerce, where if it's possible for us to cover ourselves in somehow, some way, because I'm trying to start exactly what he's doing, which is an e-commerce platform, and the concern is to either protect somehow the e-commerce website and then at the same time the users. And I know it's a little bit iffy where it comes to the part where the user is going to click on that shopping cart and then purchase the item. But we do not know, we cannot control the part where the user is it could be hacked and then compromise us, or we cannot control the part where we could be hacked and then compromise our customers. So that part is my concern. Then just a few like 4 years ago, what happened to me was that I was in my house. I used my phone to have my laptop connected to the internet, and I used a FTP file, and then one of the FTP applications from Mozilla, if I'm not mistaken. And then what I noticed later on was that there was somebody using, besides my user, there was another user in my computer, and I came to notice it through what do you call that? Through the task
Task manager.
Yeah, tax manager, exactly. And even when I tried to remove it, it was very hard. It would not allow me to upload any virus scanner or control my web browser. So what I had to do was to completely delete everything in my computer and not connect it to the internet anymore. So I left it there for maybe 3 years. No, 4 years actually. Last year was, sorry, in 2019 was the only time that I started using it. I gave it to a nice to an IT expert to remove everything, and that's how I started using it. But after that, no. I'm sorry. Before that, no. I was a little bit concerned because even my cell phone, it took a picture of myself when I was sleeping, and I, you know how you can track sometimes who was the last person that accessed your Gmail account through Gmail. Um, and then in Hotmail, I saw one from China, Greece, and somewhere in Africa. I don't remember where, but those were three different sites that had have the access to my cell phone and to my computer.
Excellent, excellent. Tanisha just wrote a nice little this thing. She is in business services and she gets confidential information. My biggest concern is keeping clients' information secure. Interested in learning more techniques to be extra vigilant. We can cover that on a one-on-one after this. What I would encourage is anybody interested in learning more about this, you can ask for a session, SBDC, and we will come and give you. There will be a 30 minutes to 30 minutes to 1 hour consultation for free, and we can talk about things in detail after that. Okay, this is great information. This is very interactive, and Gabriel, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Donato Larari, if we can get some information from you, that'll be great. And Lisa, if you can unmute and share some information, or if you have any questions before we start the simulation, will be great. Since I don't hear anything, let's begin. So Harry, with that said, we're going to start the simulation, phishing simulation.
Definitely. Hey guys, I'm very glad that we are hearing this stories, and I'm also very sorry that you guys had to go through this situation. But also, the most importantly, yes, we are trying to keep this information sessions a little bit more generic because sometimes we don't know the audience well. So instead of trying to keep it very specific to a detail, so we're trying to keep this sessions a little generic. You might find little information which could be repetitive. Our idea is to provide the information repeatedly, trying to more and more emphasize on keeping your information safe. Yes, we are available. We are also available for sessions to learn and help you out. Sharing your information along with the group really helps everybody else to also learn. So thank you for sharing.
So let's begin with the quiz.
Yes,
so I'm going to
please.
click on it.
You might.
Please put in your, so I'm going to put in.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ian is driving, so, and other people too, everybody has access to internet. Would you be able to run a simulation on your own, or we will drive it here? So now let's drive it here. It's going to be easier for all of us. And if anybody needs it, I can also provide the link on the chat here as well.
Good. So this is an email you got, okay? Look, I shared the following link. This is the department budget. What do you think? Is it phishing or is it legitimate? This will happen only with participation.
Now that we are not able to see your second screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Oh, you can't see the second screen, sorry. Can you see now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So this is an email you received from Luke Johnson. He shared the department budget documents. So is this a phishing or a legitimate email?
I would say legitimate. So let everybody weigh in, but I feel it's, hey, I know this guy, and I'm working on a budget. It's almost the time of the year where I really need to finalize.
Are you sure? So I'm clicking legitimate.
I will look at the email address there, even though it says Luke Johnson. I will look at the first and second part of it, and then at Gmail. Usually, and this part I know because I have had training on it before.
Excellent. So
you have to look at that.
correct.
Right.
So that is correct. It's not legitimate. It's a fake email. Okay, and that is what you need to pay attention to. Let's not be click hungry. You got it. Let's not click. I am at a restaurant. I need to respond now. Pay attention what you're doing. Okay, you get a fax message. This is the e-fax that you received, and it says click over here to view this fax online. Look at all the details and tell me whether this is a legitimate or phishing.
I'll go again. I think it's a phishing because what I think. Oh, I'm correct.
That is correct. It is phishing because if you look at the header, it says EFACKS. It's not EFAX. Okay.
Oh,
So that is why it's important. And also when you look at it, you will see like the link is actually mailru382.co, which is, that should tell you it's somebody from Russia. This domain name is trying to spoof you. Here, Takeo sent me a picture. Takeo, I'm going to bring you into the picture.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So she sent me a picture. Is this legitimate? Because Takeo uses Gmail. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to say legitimate. Guess what? That is not legitimate. This is the embedded, this thing actual. It will take me to this website and it's not a Google Drive. So that is how the compromise happens. Here is a Dropbox mail. You need to upgrade your Dropbox because you're running out of space. Here is a special offer. Click on this. Is this phishing or legitimate? Harry, you don't answer. Let's see what the participant answer.
What I usually try to do is try to remember the stuff that I have signed up for. And whatever is not matching what I have, I just delete it. And I have had a few, including one time I had a Bank of America account. And I noticed a difference between the bankofamerica.com and then it said something else. I don't remember what it was. And I just simply deleted it.
Excellent. We are going to talk about what kind of tools you use for your email and what you should do. Delete doesn't necessarily protect it, but you should take other steps. So this I'm going to say is phishing because it says Dropbox mail. It doesn't go Dropbox mail. Okay. It will show it's legitimate. And I said phishing. So this was a legitimate. It should be legitimate will be Dropbox.com, not Dropboxmail.com. Okay. Sharon Mosley send this information. Harry, here is a financial activity. Take a look at it. And she's sending this PDF. Looks everything legitimate. It is from whatever the school district. This is the PDF. Sharon works over there. Is this legitimate or phishing?
I think it's phishing.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. The best part of this one is I also knew exactly the
So look at it. It's slightly different from what you've seen in the past. Okay. It's Westbound School and it's westbounddayschool.org.
Yeah, I thought the school email should be .edu instead of .org. What do
No,
you guys think?
it can be org. We cannot say that. It can be org. It can be a co. It can be a .com also, because there are for-profit schools that are there who will have their .com. But the important part that you need to look at it is Sharon works for westmountschool.org. She works for Westmount School, and this email comes westmountdaneschool.org. Okay? So Google here. Someone has your password. You need to click and change your password. What Shelley experienced, this is what it might have happened. She might have not known it. She might have gone and clicked, and this is where it will take you to a different website, and this is where the hackers will say, we will help you reset it. We need 35 bucks, 200 bucks, whatever the case may be. Okay? This is phishing. The sender's address is Kluger support isn't used. Okay? And if you click on the link, the subdomain is mlsecurity.org, not Google. Government-backed attackers are trying to steal your password. No reply at Google support. Same thing. This is phishing also. So, and then it's saying you want to look at this. Okay, that is correct. So this is the quick scenario of how you can learn to have better hygiene and not get trapped and do things into your devices. Okay, can you see my screen now?
And guys, please feel free to share this
Yes.
to your friends and family.
Okay.
It will be great help if you can.
I'm going to share my.
You care about if they are also made aware to stay protected, and also request them to sign up. These sessions are completely free, and we are here to help you and protect you. So please encourage people, and thank you for having here today.
So we have done the phishing simulation. The next big question is, how often should you change your passwords or passphrases? This is an open question for the community to participate.
Weekly basis.
That is the best thing you can do it. Every 3 months, you are going into uncharted territory. You should do, if you can do it weekly, do it bi-weekly. Monthly is most ideal, meaning 15 to 30 days. Anything beyond 30 days, you are in an uncharted territory. You don't know where it might end up at. Okay? And we recommend, do not use passwords. Use passphrases. When you use a passphrase, you can use special characters, upper letter, lower letter, combination of anything. Do not have any identifiable information, whether it is your first name, last name, the town you live in, the school you went to, your kid's name, your anniversary, birth date, your places you have visited. No, none of that identifiable information. Okay? You can pick 8 to 12 characters is little safer using any combination.
Mr. Patel, I have a question.
Yes.
So what do you suggest if, let's say, we keep changing password every 3 months? Is there a platform we can use to store all the passwords just in case we forget it, because of the frequency of changing the password?
There are lots of tools that you can get out over there. There are devices and tools and programs that will allow you to save the passwords into a different place, but you have to be careful. It is not saved on the same device. You have to save it on a different device. So in an event your device is compromised, your passwords are not compromised. Okay, we will cover that also. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Harry. And since you are all the residents of New Jersey, how many people have used their license and or any information to be done online in the last 18 months? And this is where Harry is going to take over. Harry.
Thank you, Ian. There are the password lock is a very popular application you could use. I can also send you some other links. If you can share your email information, I'll send it to you over the link, because you would definitely need something more, very much for e-commerce readiness. Already, so let's go over this email phishing attack simulation, which has really happened. Everybody was trying to go for the DMV, which was, I mean, millions of emails were sent out under the name of DMV, asking for having the real ID. So if you click on the next slide, we will show you what really happened. So there were thousands of email, even text messages were sent out, and it came from the Social Security Administration, which was very legit, and it tried to provide it, asking people to get a real ID. Now, please be very careful with this one. The real ID, it means they're asking you for they're asking for your name, your last name, your first name, your date of birth, your address. They're asking for your driver license number as well, social security number. So honestly, they got everything, if in case you fall for it. So be very careful. This is very serious, and it should be treated with a lot of caution. So let's go to the next slide, please. This was very much to do with the new initiative called Real ID. They really targeted the real initiative, which was happening, ending in 2021, for Real ID. The Real ID was targeted by agencies to avoid hacks and to create a simplified solution for not providing everybody not sharing their social security number. If you go to doctor's office, their de facto standard of knowing you is to know by your social security number. Honestly, that should not be the way. So there was an initiative which was created to create something called Real ID, where the hackers were smart enough, they were using this Real ID mechanism as a tool to steal information as well. Okay, so let's go to the next slide.
No, I'm not going to go to the next slide. I'm going to ask an open question to everybody.
Oh, sure,
How
please.
many people have been to the doctor's office prior to COVID, and what is the experience you get? Some girl or gal in the front office will shove you a clipboard where you have to fill all that information: name, address, phone number, social security, date of birth, your insurance. How many people have experienced that? Excellent. Now, people who have raised their hands, you guys left a trail at your doctor's office. So here is what you need to ask your doctor's office. Number one, is there another way I can do this? Because I do not know how this information is going to be stored. Because if that paper ends up somewhere where it's not supposed to be, if that paper ends up in trash, guess what? Doctor's office is a prime target for hackers. They would want to go to the trash and see what they can pick it up. Anytime you're giving your personally identified information, you have to be extra careful and vigilant. Okay? Here is what happened. Harry, you want to go over it? This is the alerts that went. This is from the New Jersey Department of Cybersecurity. They are giving you details as to what you should do. You should look at emails where it originates from. Anything that you get unidentified, you have to mark it, not delete it, mark it as spoof, phishing, and then delete it. That makes it very, very easy. You have to look at the origin of the email. Like we looked at the last email, which came from a school. People even try to spoof the domains by adding or deleting words. So be very, very careful. There is a specific cyber incident form that you can click on, and you can fill that information, and you can upload what it is. So anybody that gets hacked, you can look at this. I'm going to put it in the chat so everybody can go and look at it. This is your tax dollars at work. This is where everything goes, and it's being worked on. Okay?
So Ian, going back to your question, well, you did mention that once you get an email, you delete them. Ideally, the request is not just to delete them, but to also clean up your trash folder and completely wipe it off. If it sits inside the deleted folder, it still has a lifeline where it can harm your machine and your mailbox as well. It would be ideal if you want to participate in the global community and mark it as spam. So this information are being shared by the authorities and the software companies will keep track of hackers and spammers. So once everybody starts spam using this tool to marking them spam, Google and Microsoft 365, everybody keep the track of that, and they help the fellow citizens to identify that that's spam. So please help out the community here. Thank you.
Harry, the next one is also for you.
Oh, thank you. Alrighty, so other facts. The hackers can use brute force. We will do something like what is the brute force? Yes, it's the fancy words which we're putting here. Cyber cryptographers, it's also the known terms which is happening very often. The cyber brute force is a very simple terminology. Is somebody knocking on your door and constantly bugging you to open a door. You would go on the door and say, "Oh, I don't know you. Hey, you're not allowed to come in. Hey, I don't need to attend you." But what is really trying to do is they're trying to make you stay busy throughout the day, trying to keep on saying that you're not allowed to enter, or I don't know you. Now, when this is happening, there is a second door or window which is opened for some reason, and they exactly know how to come in, and they will enforce their supremacy by entering through the back door. So, Trojan horses, the commonly used term. Brute force attack is very interestingly utilized term, which happens very often nowadays, and it has been seen by the community. You can subscribe to NJCCIC awareness, threat awareness response team, and you will also constantly get update what was really happening as well. So now please move to the next
Yeah,
slide.
Harry, I'm going to jump in for 30 seconds. Thank you. What is brute force? Let's say one of you is driving a nice Mercedes Benz and I'm interested. I will crack the window, disable the alarm, take that car and run. Similarly, you have ADT security, whatever. I will find a way how to break through the door, come through the garage, whatever the case may be, or get into one of your cars and have the door opener and get into your car home. That is another way which people use as brute force. Okay. We are not going to go through it, but this is just something where you need to keep your backups, your devices, everything you think in cloud or whatever the case may be. If checks and balances are not done, you will back up all the spurious infected data, and your backup will also get screwed. So checks and balances to be put in place, how harmful scripts can come in, what Trojan horses can do, and how things can go and change. Okay. Ransomware attacks are difficult because they are done in many different ways. Social engineering is one of those things that people look into it and they run with it. Most common methods of ransomware, it starts with spam and phishing attack emails. It will start with cybersecurity, lack of cybersecurity training and hygiene, weak password and access management, poor and gullible practices, uh, trying to go to different websites when you get pointed, when you do searches and you think 9 out of 10 people use Google as a search engine and they think whatever Google brings, that is correct. No, Google is just the search engine. It will use algorithms and it will bring you the web pages. It is not Google's responsibility to see that whether this site is malicious or not. Okay? So you have to be careful what you're looking for and how you're clicking and doing it. Any other questions so far? Anybody? Okay,
Mr. Patel, I have a question.
absolutely.
Yeah, so basically from all the presentation that you show us, can you give us some good platform or good resources that we can learn more? Like usually for platform, what kind of antivirus software these days are what you recommended?
Uh,
Thank you.
okay, we don't recommend any particular, but you should have antivirus is not going to solve your problem. Antivirus will take care of only one thing. Together with antivirus, you need something that is malware and also looks at your device's health, whether anything suspicious is coming in. There are many available. Norton, Symantec, Norton, same company, Avast, McAfee, Trend Micro, BitLock. There are lots of stuff that you can get. Look at what you are signing up, and we can take this offline. And when you do the one-on-one consult, we can give you more information on that. Okay. Signs of
Thank you.
signs of ransomware attack. We have already gone through this. You will see unusual activity. You will see file anomaly. You will see inability to access your networks. Hundreds of files are modified and an attempt is made. All they will do is your files, they will go and rename it with some additional extension. And then you can't open Word, you can't open Excel, and some message will pop. Go over here, pay me in Bitcoin, and that's how we are going to give you the key. This is how it will do. This is what will show up. Okay. Here, this is somebody, Kevin Mutton. He can crack your passwords within no time. We are not going to go into the details, but it will be on the presentation. One of the key things that we talked about in the geo this thing, if somebody can manipulate your geolocation, and if you have a family emergency, you can't go and do anything because it'll point to a different state. And when you call 911, somebody in Milwaukee will be trying to do something when help was needed in Monroe. Okay. Excellent. SBDC offers you free consultation for cyber awareness. All of this, these are your taxpayer dollars. I would encourage you to reach out to Takeo or whoever else you receive the email from, set up an appointment, and we'll be more than happy to participate and ask and answer any questions. Everybody talked about financial this thing. You are all in a regulated industry. These are the laws that are coming down. We can talk in detail in the next session. But you guys are all have to be compliant by PCI when you're accepting e-commerce and other stuff. Also, when you're doing e-commerce, when you go across state lines, different laws apply. With that, you're going to keep it. We are running short of time. we'll give this last 5 minutes for open Q&A and see if anybody has any questions. You can note this address, send an email, and ask for one-on-one, and we'll be more than happy to participate and give you anything. When you do the first one-on-one for half an hour to 1 hour, there's no cost to you. But we can do the assessment of where your business is, and then if you engage, we can talk about that. So ladies and gentlemen, how did you like this presentation so far?
Very informative. Thank you so much, Mr. Patel.
Thank you. Glad to be participant. Anybody else? Shelley, Tanisha, Lisa?
It was very good. Thank you.
We will be more than happy. Any business that needs help, we are over here to help and support. Don't hesitate. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Takeo. Takeo, any closing remarks?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Nali and Harry, for your time today. That presentation was very informative. And I do see a question in the Q&A feature if you would like to answer that. Just really quick before we go ahead and end today's webinar.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Anand, if you don't mind, I can answer this question.
Please.
Sure. Hey, so if you use VPN, Google is also trying to identify that it is really who you are. If you notice, they exactly know what was the last place you opened your email. So they are trying to authenticate whether you are really you. If you're using a VPN, if you're using VPN to your office, to the known location, then your identity is also identifiable again. If you're using a third-party VPN services, which spoofs your IP addresses, and when it doesn't allow the Google or Microsoft Office to really identify whether it's really you, they understand that you are not, and it is a spoof. It is somebody's trying to hack into your email address. So I would recommend to try and use the same IP address, but you're trying to use your Gmail phone. It is very much for your own safety. So hope I answered your question. If you're using alleged VPNs, then yes, if you're trying to use the freewares, I do not recommend using free VPN services. Please don't use it.
We sent, interestingly enough, if you look at it, this was an anonymous attendee. So I don't know how somebody anonymous could get into it, or how they could rename themselves to an anonymous attendee.
So when it comes to asking questions, you have the ability to either share your name, or you can just click, there's a little button that says anonymous. So you can just check that off and answer or ask your question anonymously, so no one knows your name.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's all the questions.
I have a quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
So basically, with the rise of the ransomware, right? Usually, do people pay, or do they seek other alternative help to deal with the situation?
The answer is both, depending upon what data you have and what it is. You can decide either you want to pay or you want to destroy the device. If you have all your backups and everything else at a safe place, you can just destroy that device, start with a new thing, start with new hygiene, change all your passwords, change your network, and go on to the next thing. You'll need a new device. It's up to the business owner what is important at that time. Okay?
Yeah, time is money essentially. So if recovering data costs you more than paying a ransomware and getting the data back, that's a business decision that needs to be made. Some people weigh in that, okay, let me get the data and let me change everything later as well. So we have been into a situation where even though we don't encourage paying the ransomware with respect to time, it happens, and then we replace everything to protect in case of that thing happening. So this respect of time.
So with that said, we thank you very much. This was a very informative and a good participation from the group. We really appreciate it. We encourage, if you have any questions, send the feedback to rnsbdc@business.rutgers.edu. You can request one-on-one consultation at www.rnsbdc.com. On the right-hand side, ask for consultation, and somebody will get back to you within 24 to 48 business hours. And hope to continue. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and use proper hygiene to protect yourself and your friends and family in this digital connected world.
Thank you,
Any
guys.
last comments from Takeo?
Yes, thank you again. Thank you for that. Thank you everyone for your questions and for participating in today's webinar. Just before we end it, I'm just going to go ahead and paste some information in the chat there. So hopefully you're seeing that on your end as well. I'm just posting some of our upcoming webinars and workshops. So on the 25th, we have our Marketing 101, which is a great webinar if you're starting off in marketing. And we have our Preparing for PPP Loan Forgiveness. So if you applied for the PPP loan and you received it, that's a great one as well. We have a Supply Chain webinar as well. And then lastly, we have our E-commerce Planning Part 2 webinar coming up later this month as well. So if you're interested in any of those webinars, please feel free to click and register for them. The last two links in the chat there that I just posted, the first link is the direct link to go ahead and request that one-on-one business counseling. If you're interested in speaking with an elite for a little bit longer, you can feel free to click on that link to schedule that appointment. And again, we do only service those within Essex County. So if you're in Essex County and you need business help, feel free to click on that link and we'll definitely reach out to you within 1 to 2 business days. And then the last link there that I posted is the link to view our webinars and workshops that we're having for the rest of the year. So please feel free to visit our website and you will definitely find a webinar or workshop that best fits your business needs. And we are hosting many other webinars this year in areas such as financing, access to capital, COVID disaster loans, marketing, digital marketing, branding, e-commerce, credit counseling, startup assistance, cybersecurity, state certifications, human resourcing, government contract, and so much more. So again, feel free to visit our website, rnsbdc.com/training, and you will definitely find a webinar or workshop that fits your needs. I do want to remind you all that within 48 to 72 business hours, you will be receiving this presentation as well as the video replay from today's webinar so that you can apply all of this information and strategies to help protect your business. After this webinar has ended in the browser, you will see a survey pop up. That survey will help us to adjust our presentations as well as give us some information on the type of assistance you may be needing for your business. So if you enjoyed this format and this webinar, please feel free to fill out that survey. Just let us know if you were looking for something else. Please, again, fill out that survey so that we can know and we can adjust our presentations and webinars in the future. And with that, I will now go ahead and end this webinar. I want to say thank you again to our presenters, Nalit and Harry, for sharing your expertise with us. And thank you to all of our attendees once more. And we look forward to seeing you all at our future webinars and workshops. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Enjoy
you,
your
Nalit.
weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you, you too.